Alright, man, we got SunnyV2, How One Joke Collapsed, a popular YouTube podcast. Alright. This, I'm gonna assume, based off the thumbnail, of course, was the time where this was happening, and then George, right? No, I'm wrong, because I'm thinking about the time where George was, you know, doing his thing, talking, and then here comes Logan, pretty much kind of like coming off disrespectful in a way, you feel me? I'm wrong. It's not this episode. I'm thinking about a whole nother episode. But let's get it.
On episode 351 of the Impulsive podcast, Bobby Lee made one single joke which completely wrecked the relationship between the three hosts Logan, Mike, and Mo.
Yo, who?
One single joke which completely wrecked the relationship between the three hosts Logan.
Who makes these, bro? These is tough. You know what I'm saying? Who makes his thumbnails in?
Mike, and most notably George.
He's not coming back?
Is he really mad? Is he really mad?
Oh,
I
we
know
have
George.
beef with a guy? I don't
Yeah,
Oh, no.
I
I
didn't do anything wrong.
For context, Logan and Mike created the podcast back in late 2018, and it's safe to say that these two have always had excellent chemistry. Their personalities work well together, they seem to be pretty good friends, and generally speaking, they exhibit a similar level of status. Keeping a permanent third host, on the other hand, has proven much more difficult. The first 150 episodes featured a third host named Spencer, who eventually left the podcast to move to Hawaii, after which the role went to Logan's childhood friend Mac, who'd then also leave after getting into a fight with Mike over their difference in interests. On episode 219 in September...
Difference in interest, bro. There's no need of beef and fight over what you like and the other person not liking it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
2020, the next and most recent third host was announced as George Janko,
Introducing the third co-host of Impulsive, my best friend, George Janko.
who was certainly different to the previous two. George was introduced as a more emotional counterpart to Logan and Mike, as he had a reputation for wearing his heart on his sleeve, while Logan and Mike were almost the exact opposite. In addition to this, George was a devout Christian, with discussion about his own spirituality, adding another layer of contrast to what had previously been a non-religious show. Outside of Impulsive, George practiced the art of stand-up comedy, although it'd be through comedy that he'd eventually meet his ruin. One thing was glaringly obvious from George's very first appearance. He simply wasn't on the same level as Logan and Mike. Logan has succeeded with everything from vlogs to Prime, while Mike has overcome his own set of challenges and has proven himself as a fantastic interviewer who meshes well with almost every guest on the show. George, on the other hand, has always felt a little too much like, well, just another guy who Logan met at the gym.
Logan, I met him at a gym.
George never had the chance to refine his interviewing skills to the same degree as Logan and Mike, which is only accentuated by his seating position to the right of the guest, making it much harder for George to engage in the conversation. The obvious imbalance between George, Logan, Mike, and usually the guest as well, leaves George with a needy personality and an overpowering desire for approval, leading to over-the-top questions and comments, often producing a clunky viewing experience.
I need to know more about you. Like, how did you figure out that like this entertainment world was your calling?
That's what I was gonna say.
I said it, so.
But I was gonna say.
No, but I said it.
No, it's good. It's good.
I was already funnier than the kids around me, so I was like, I could tell the joke that they're gonna make fun of me, but even better. And I made it about myself. So I was like making fun of myself, like really self-deprecated myself.
Generally speaking, George's attitude wasn't severe enough to upset any of the guests. However, on episode 346 with Shaquille O'Neal, George was slapped in the face with a bit of a reality check. For the first 11 minutes of the podcast, George didn't say a single word, leading Shaq to confront him about his lack of input.
Hold on, you ain't gonna ask me a question? Oh, damn.
bro. Damn. I mean, I didn't watch this, but like, depending on how it went, and then Shaq asking him that, and then them two laughing, bro, it's like, they're just as responsible to him pitching in, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they're the ones talking constantly, and like, you know, the conversations are flowing up to the next question, flowing, it's kind of hard to, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure George doesn't want to just butt in. He could, you know what I'm saying? So it's like they have much of a responsibility to, you know, kind of backtrack a little bit just to allow George to ask something, you feel me? Again, I don't know how this episode went. My interpretation of pretty much what I just said could be all the way wrong, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? But
first 11 minutes of the podcast, George didn't say a single word, leading Shaq to confront him about his lack of input.
Hold on, you ain't gonna ask me a question? Oh, damn.
He waits. He likes to wait until he's got the.
Jeez.
Bro, listen, man. I read the Bible a lot when they talk about David and Goliath. I've never seen a giant, and so like I'm literally just I'm a little taken.
You've been sitting over here for 30 minutes and that's all you can freaking say? Fucking kidding me.
No, he's not gonna say
That's a
shit.
question. Jeez.
I'm just sitting.
Are you drunk?
I have one question. Is there
Okay,
any
thank you.
chance I could, for 2 seconds, put these up so I can hear what's going on?
Take them all. You don't have to ask
Why
the
are you asking
producer.
Dylan?
Just take things off.
Okay.
After making the excuse that he couldn't hear due to his headphones, George sat quietly for another 11 minutes, after which he was scolded again.
What the fuck are you doing here? Ask a question. Jeez. He's your partner?
He's the newest.
You might want to give him his 2-week notice. That's the question, dude.
Honestly-
Jeez. You're just sitting here like a bobblehead going,
Yeah. No,
Ask the
I'm so
question.
sorry. I didn't want to
Okay.
interrupt you because
No,
I
go
couldn't
ahead.
hear, but
Go ahead.
And it's safe to say that this put a permanent dent in George's confidence. He'd already
Damn.
joked about how difficult it was to be the third host.
They didn't help laughing at him, bro. You feel me? They didn't help.
In the past.
It's hard to be the third person on a podcast with,
wouldn't
with two
say.
very vocal main hosts.
And after the Shaquille O'Neal episode, it was obvious that George's confidence had fallen off a cliff.
and then recently I've been just getting really nervous that I'm not doing well enough for the podcast anymore.
Only 5 episodes after Shaq roasted George, Bobby Lee would join the show for Impulsive 351, during which one single joke would send the show into turmoil. The episode began with Bobby
Yeah, it
taking a
did.
little jab at George by suggesting that Mike was cooler.
You have everything.
Cool friends.
You have cool friends like this guy? What about him? No.
Yet things became a little more contentious when George took it from fun to borderline aggressive.
Some people just don't like sucking dick. Now turn around and know the wisdom I give you.
Whoa.
Before displaying more arrogance just a few minutes later.
How about you?
First of all, what's my name?
Sensing George's clear insecurity, Bobby began to roast George whenever he got the opportunity.
You have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Is that your girlfriend? Without fame, you wouldn't get that.
Although the ultimate roast would come after George went on a 2.5-minute monologue about the struggles he faced in his life.
And I don't mean this in a cocky way, but like, dude, this put me on a very strong map, and it made a lot of my avenues blow up. So I'm
It's
very
like that's-
blessed, but I didn't know I was gonna be here. So
It's
for
like
me-
that's. You done? It was just a long monologue.
He was just waiting.
And let me just say something. I loved what you were saying. It was just very long. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
usually
yeah, yeah.
That's usually.
But you know, I got what you're saying, and you really inspired me, George. Can I say something?
First of all, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Do not
Okay,
touch
my
me.
bad, my bad. Yeah, we just need writers to edit that down.
It don't help they laugh, gang. You know what I'm saying? It does not help that they laugh, bro. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Like if we had a staff of writers, they'd be like, "Yeah, we'll cut that." But
I'm sorry.
essentially, it was a really good monologue.
Usually when I do my comedy, I don't have writers in the room. I actually write my own stuff.
Okay, I can tell.
I
But maybe you should get a writer. But my point is,
For the rest of the podcast, George went into his own little world, except for when Bobby got his attention just so he could roast him again.
all right, George.
so sad.
What I'm saying is that
better
when
when
you
I
were
was in the room.
talking, we were for that 30 minutes.
Eventually leading George to walk off the podcast, get in an Uber, and leave without saying goodbye. The episode received comments such as, "It's impossible to call yourself a comedian if you can't handle being slaughtered by other comedians, especially the Captain Bob himself." George tells everyone he's going to be the best comedian alive, but he can't take a joke from the legendary Bobby Lee. It's like a badge of honor. How does he think most comedians communicate with each other?
True. I get the joking part of it, comedian. I get it. I understand. You feel me? I get it.
I've always thought George thinks he's funnier than he really is, and when people roast him, he gets super butthurt like this generation. Things became worse for George after this video by Jamari gained well over 1 million views, leading George to address the criticism in the following episode of Impulsive by arrogantly stating that he enjoyed all the hatred.
I love that people were just commenting and getting so steamed. It made me realize, like, oh, I really don't care. I want it. I want to be in their heads more. Like, I like it.
Love how George is trying to act like he's not heard about this when he had to leave the pod because Bobby Lee, out of all people, almost made him cry. Dude is a clown. A week after George responded, Logan appeared on Bobby Lee's podcast Tiger Belly, where Bobby took a moment to talk about George's behavior.
What he did was unprofessional.
Yeah.
I was a guest.
Yeah.
He walked out on a guest.
Yeah.
If this guy right here walked out on a guest, he would be reprimanded.
Before roasting him yet again.
If you had walked out, right, it would have been like, oh, it's over. But him walking out was just kind of like, let's keep going.
Bobby and Logan then decided that they should get George on a call,
Can you give me his number?
You want to settle this right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna call him right now.
leading Bobby and George to fix their relationship.
I want to apologize for my behavior on your podcast.
Bobby Lee, you shut your mouth. I'm apologizing to you. I left you. You were our guest.
I want to pull back my apology then. Because I too, because I literally did not feel sorry.
Ow.
I pulled out of the apology. I don't feel sorry, but I will accept yours, right? And hopefully, you know, when I come back to your podcast, we can make it right.
However, it was obvious that the whole thing had caused a serious fracture between George and Logan, becoming most obvious when they get into an almost hour-long argument, only 5 episodes
I think this is the one I was chatting about in the beginning.
after the Bobby Lee podcast.
I know people that hate me, that treat me better about
Yeah, that's the one. That's the
my
one.
faith in you, and you're my best friend. One
you
that really
saying?
hurt me is you told me I need a therapist because I believe in Jesus.
No,
That
I
one
didn't.
hurt me.
No, I didn't. I said you need a therapist because Jesus isn't quite doing it for you,
No, you
which
didn't.
is
No, you
which is
didn't.
true.
No, you didn't.
I said,
I won't stand down. No, you didn't. What do I need a therapist for then?
Jesus isn't doing it for you, and I
what
believe
do I need
you're.
a therapist for?
I don't believe you're as emotionally mature as you could be.
I'm not emotionally intelligent. Could you pick a time and frame any day of our
Sure.
life?
Here's one. 3 weeks ago, when you were sitting in that chair, you stormed off this exact podcast because you're upset about something a comedian said.
Logan did apologize in their very next episode together.
My attitude towards
Yeah.
you on that episode and my belittlement of your beliefs was not appropriate at all.
However, George seemed to realize that his days on Impulsive were numbered, as he'd create his own podcast before clickbaiting the first episode with the title, Why George Janko is Not on Impulsive, implying that he'd left the group. George used the video to explain that this hadn't really happened.
Obviously, I'm still on Impulsive, guys. For any of you guys that are like, oh, their beef situation, and now he's starting his own like lane.
Even going so far as to say their relationship was as good as ever.
Me, Logan, and Mike are in a perfect place.
Yet it was obvious that this clickbait video had annoyed Logan.
I'm just doing this for a couple weeks so then I could leave and clickbait that why I left Impulsive.
That's good. It's a good strategy.
That'll crush.
It's been done. It's been done many times, and it works.
By who? Oh,
Well, you can make a real living for yourself. You know, we've seen the model.
Resulting in more and more uncomfortable moments on the podcast.
You don't give a shit about this show anymore, let's be honest. It's like bands that hate each other that have to get on stage every night and play for the audience. Like, yo, let's do our hit song. We don't like it. We have to sit
That's
here
not
and
true.
pretend
That's
to
not
be
true. I
friends.
like Mike. George.
Well, he's about to
You
redeem
don't
it.
say.
He's about to.
Only 3 episodes after comparing themselves to a band forced to play together, George disappeared from the show without warning, leading fans to speculate on whether or not he'd been booted. Mike refused to elaborate on the situation when asked by Aiden Ross.
Why is Georgie not on Impulsive anymore? Is that like you don't answer that?
No, I don't want to talk about that.
Although only 1 month later on an episode of Jeff FM with Mike and Tanner Mojo, Tanner accidentally said this.
We are the new Impulsive. I'm sorry.
we are. It's fun.
Y'all are having like a rebrand, like George is leaving. Like, this is it.
At around the same point in time, George unfollowed both Logan and Mike on Instagram, which was followed by Impulsive changing their profile picture from this to this.
Damn.
As well as their banner from this to this. All of this had happened silently with no input from the hosts. However, on the 26th of April 2023, George would post to Twitter, I wasn't going to talk, but now I am, implying that some pretty heavy stuff had gone down behind the scenes. Replies on the post encouraged George to keep the drama private, yet on the 31st of May, approximately 1 month later, another tweet was made stating, to the Impulsive fans, I'm so sorry I can't speak about things, not my choice. I do love you guys, and for those of you sending me the clip of them talking shit, it's all love. I've already moved on from that toxic environment, confirming that he was no longer on the podcast. The post received.
Listen, bro, sometimes. Let me see. Sometimes it gets to a point in a friendship, in a relationship, right, where just pretty much, bro, things don't last. Nothing lasts forever. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you're gonna have those situations or instances where the relationship or friendship is not going well. You feel me? It's not going well. Either you can fix it or you let it be. Maybe they tried to fix it and it wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't genuine, it wasn't good, whatever have you, right? These things happen all the fucking time. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. I got 2 close friends since I was 4 years old, bro. We went to the same preschool together. We went to the same kindergarten together. Like, we've known each other for so long, bro. You know what I'm saying? And God forbid, knock on wood, but like, what if one day things don't work out with us? You know what I'm saying? You just gotta move on and keep pushing. Nothing lasts forever, for real, bro. But things like this happen all the time in friendships, bro, in relationships. I don't know, you feel me? Maybe George is bothered by all of this, or maybe he just wanted to split ways and do his own thing. You know what I'm saying? It could be a million different reasons that we don't know about, but that's their business, and you just gotta accept it for what it is now, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Replies slamming George such as, "Mate, you sat there not speaking for 90% of the time. What are we missing? Your silence?" To which he'd respond by stating, "You think I wanted to be quiet? Ha ha ha."
Bro, again, it's a 3-person podcast. Maybe finding that balance between each person and the guest. You know what I'm saying? Finding that balance. Maybe come up with a set of questions in your notes or something for everyone to ask. You feel me? Even then, that probably won't even work, because again, everything's just, it's with the flow of the interview. Feel me? They're talking, first question, they're talking, oh, here comes another question I didn't think about because they brought up this point, let me ask them this now. You just, it's a million questions that end up appearing during a podcast, but it's limited. Feel me? It's limited because people have lives. They gotta go handle business. They gotta do their own thing. So yeah, right here, it's like, you think he wanted to be quiet? I'm 100% sure he didn't want to be quiet. But again, depending on how the interview goes, it's like, it's kind of hard to squeeze a question in, and you don't want to come off rude and you know what I'm saying, barge in and be disrespectful.
Yet this kind of statement is representative of why he's unsuitable for the podcast. He cares way too much about how other people view him. If you're the type of person who gets defensive and feels like you always have to be in the right, you're probably better suited to a Facebook comment section and not a career on YouTube. Despite this, George has seen some success with the George Janko show, yet Logan hasn't been able to resist roasting George's low view count.
I love this outlet, and it exists because people watch. And without people watching, I just have a show like
Since then, George has stated that he simply wants
subtle shots and shit, and it's like, bro, a lot of people want to do podcasts. Their lows are gonna be low. That's a start. Who's to say this man's show won't blow the fuck up and pass impulsive at one point? You know what I'm saying? It's possible.
to distance himself from Mike and Logan.
I'm at a point right now where I want distance from both of them. I don't want anything to do with it, and I just move on.
Which seems to be the best possible outcome for everybody involved.
Damn. That's crazy, bro, because I've seen, I have a few of their newer Impulsive episodes saved on my playlist to watch. You know what I'm saying? But I literally, this is the first time I'm finding out that George pretty much isn't part of Impulsive anymore. You feel me? That's crazy. Logan is the last person to criticize anyone's intelligence and self-awareness when he's thoroughly lacking in both areas. It's very sad to see something people really enjoy get ruined by a stupid joke. Imagine being told you lack emotional intelligence by a man who laughed. Ah, shit. You know, the guy's the only person who will make me watch a 10-minute video about someone I never knew. George getting hurt that easily is very disappointing from a comedian, but also the way Logan treated him is extremely unfair. Yeah, bro. This ain't all just George's fault, you feel me? Like, again, it's a 3-person podcast, including plus the guests. It's like, they gotta find a balance with everything, bro. I don't know. I'm on George's side. Dude opened up. It was extremely vulnerable, and he gets made fun of and ignored. Crappy group of friends and self-centered guest. George deserves better. I honestly don't get how people give Logan Paul trust when he has proven time and time again that he will betray the trust and trust the second a bag is on the table. Hey man, let me know what you guys think about all of this. You feel me? I personally, I just feel like, again, caring about what other people think about you or see you as, it's kind of like, who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? Comedian jokes, get it as well. You feel me? Them laughing, I feel like wasn't really helping. What else? I don't know, bro. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gonna take this differently. It is what it is. But let me know what you guys thought. That's my reaction. If you enjoyed, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'm out.